It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Hello, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the founder of happyfamilies.com.au. Welcome to a holiday edition of the Happy Families podcast. Today, one of Australia's favourite parenting experts, the Queen of Common Sense. She's written a handful of books to help parents to navigate their parenting journey, especially if you're raising boys. And today, we're talking to Maggie about her book, Raising Boys. I was chatting with Maggie in episode 270 of our podcast. If you've got boys, I think you'll love listening to this episode. To give you a taste, I asked her, is the culture unkind to young boys?
Oh, golly, I every now and then I'll work in a centre that's actually been to some of my work, and they've got this different approach. So that the boys that can't sit still on the mat more than 2 or 3 minutes are towards the back, and they're okay to jiggle on a chair, or they're able to jiggle their foot without getting busted for it. And they're able to concentrate more, so they're able to participate more. And what they desperately need, the same as every girl, is a sense that I belong and people care for me. So when we actually have evidence that shows that we speak more harshly to boys than girls. So what's that telling? Sensitive little boys, and all of them are sensitive, even though that rambunctious one looks like he's tough, he's not. So the whole myth is boys are not tough. In actual fact, girls are emotionally way tougher. They do have a physicality. So thank you for that. But that is one of the reasons that I started jumping up and down, because we have to look at the way that we're starting to raise little boys into a system that doesn't necessarily serve them until a lot later, around 8 and 9, they can sit a little bit better.
Maggie, I want to pick up on something that you've just highlighted. You talked about the research around the different expectations, the way we speak to boys versus girls. And that data, from what I've seen, from a developmental psychology point of view, that's from the earliest ages. We're much more likely to goo-goo and gaga over a 6-month-old girl than we are a boy. And by the time they're 12 months and 18 months and 24 months, all of a sudden it's like, stop crying, cut that out, stop acting like a girl.
Yes. As
you would know, I mean, you've written about it, the boys at school are much more likely to get in trouble. They're much more likely to be put on detention. They're much more likely to be suspended and expelled. They just get in trouble more than girls. And it's almost like we've feminized our education system. And as the kids get older, we see girls doing better at school, which is wonderful. I mean, it's great. It's great that girls are doing well. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do well, but girls are graduating with higher grades consistently. Girls are getting into the better courses now. Girls are really, really doing well. And it's a wonderful moment for girls to shine, but it shouldn't be at the expense of boys. Can we lift everybody rather than saying, well, we've got to do this for girls and therefore we've got to put the boys down? What do we do as parents? Like, if there's a take-home message in terms of the way we talk to our boys, the way we educate our boys, the way we raise these little kids, let's say up to about the age of 10 or 12, what would you say are the fundamentals that parents need to know about boys as opposed to girls?
Look, I think the fundamental needs of them is exactly the same, Justin. So, we know that strong attachment and relationships are really what helps all children thrive. So you've got to work out how you're building that, even though you have a boy that's more impulsive that wants to jump off the garage roof and you can't believe he did it because he didn't think about it. We don't make them wrong in those moments. But what we do is, I just say, if you can have 3 rules around your boys that you have either stuck on the fridge: try not to hurt yourself, try not to hurt anyone else, and try not to damage the world around you. So when they do those things, we come back to them that you're not wrong. It was the choice you made. And so the emotional coaching is really important from a tender place. But you can't do it in the heat of the moment because they can't hear you. They're very defensive very early. So we probably leave it 24 hours, probably bath time, little chat as you're going to bed. Remember when you jumped on your brother from the top bunk and mummy got a bit upset? And I need you to know why that wasn't a good choice. So it's a slightly different way of doing it. But the thing is, can you be the tender, loving parent following all these moments? Can you love them when they get that message home from school? Can you love them if they've run in to say goodbye to their friend and punch them in the head instead of giving them a high five because in the moment they just forgot what they were doing? Can you really see the world through their eyes and help them understand that there are other ways of being, that they're not wrong, that sometimes they make choices that aren't really good ones?
That's Maggie Dent from episode 270 of the Happy Families podcast, talking about raising boys. Get curious, not furious. Be where your feet are. Mistakes lead to mastery. High emotions, low intelligence. Have you ever heard these or any of the other principles I share and thought, I need to stick that on my wall? Well, now you can. The Happy Families team has pulled out the best Justinisms for A5 mini posters. Perfect for your home or even the classroom and easy to grab at happyfamilies.com.au. It's the Happy Families podcast, the podcast for the time poor parent who just wants answers now. You're with Dr. Justin Coulson. Hope you've been enjoying the holiday snippet that we're sharing with you to make your family happier and to help you to key into the stuff that matters most when it comes to raising kids. Tomorrow, I can't wait to share this snippet with you, having a chat with Professor Ethan Kross. Ethan is one of my favourite researchers in psychology in the entire world. He's such a smart guy, and he's written a book called Chatter: The Voice in Our Head, Why It Matters, and How to Harness It. Have you noticed that it can be really hard to stay in control, to regulate, to get that self-regulation happening and teach it to kids? That's what the podcast is about tomorrow morning. I can't wait to share our snippet of advice, our wealth of wisdom from Professor Ethan Kross with you tomorrow. Please join us for the Happy Families podcast then. Until then, though, have a wonderful day. I hope that the school holidays are going well for you. And we'll be back tomorrow with more on the Happy Families podcast, produced as always by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media, with Craig Bruce as our executive producer. All the info you need for making your family happy, by the way, is at happyfamilies.com.au.